With coronary heart disease as the #1 cause of death in the United States, it has become all that more important to realize the signs and symptoms, so that if it is impacting someone you know or love, you may help them. And that is the idea of the Golden Hour Project. It is my goal today to arm you with the informational tools needed to recognize a heart attack and quickly get treatment so as to prevent any damage. The heart attack hit home when I came knocking on the door of a man who has been a grandfather to me since my real grandfather had died of Hodgkin's disease long ago. The very idea that I could have lost him brings tears to my eyes, but luckily he was with someone who had also experienced a heart attack and who knew the signs and symptoms. Art Pop, the man who was afflicted, is someone you'll meet later in this video. It is because his friend Ron knew the signs and symptoms that Art was able to get help, and I am still with my dear grandfather figure. Critical background knowledge about the heart attack is necessary for me to explain the story of Art and Ron, and therefore I would like to arm you with that information now. Ron Galilee, who was present with Art that fateful day, knew the signs and symptoms because earlier, someone with this same knowledge had saved his life whenever it was threatened by a heart attack. Art, who he saw was having shortness of breath, chest discomfort radiating to the neck, jaw, and back, a cold sweat, dizziness, even arm pain, nausea, weakness, and a high stomach pain, Ron immediately knew that Art was having a heart attack. And for these reasons, he knew to get help. Luckily, Art was able to receive treatment within the first hour of his heart attack symptoms, the golden hour. Thanks to this, he was able to avoid any permanent damage or death that could have resulted from his heart attack. This just goes to prove the importance of the golden hour. Activating 911 and seeking medical assistance within the first hour of a heart attack is critical to avoiding any permanent damage or death, as in Art's case as previously mentioned. This is the importance of the golden hour. Now that the signs and symptoms of the heart attack and the importance of the golden hour have been reviewed, the more causal questions may be asked. Why did Art have his heart attack? The question can be answered with a visit to the dentist's office. Yes, the dentist, the bi-yearly sense of sitting in a time-warped waiting room where the most recent magazine on the table heralds in the 2 new television shows, Saturday Night Live and Happy Days. The reason why Art had a heart attack is, linguistically at least, related to the reason why I have to make, 7 or 8 trips to the dentist per year to have cavities filled. Plaque. Heart disease develops when plaque, made up of fats, cholesterols, and the like, build up in the arteries surrounding the heart. The heart must work harder, leading to hypertension, among other forms of heart disease. This plaque may eventually break free and form a blood clot, causing greater complications and blockage. When this blockage restricts the flow of essential oxygen to the heart and other parts of the body, the tissue begins to suffer repercussions and die. This is myocardial infarction, or the heart attack. Treatments for the heart attack can be grouped into 2 major categories according to my research done through Mayo Clinic, those that are medicinal and those that are surgical. Medicines such as aspirin and blood thinners, pain relievers, nitroglycerin, beta blockers, and blood pressure medication known as ACE inhibitors are used in the treatment of a heart attack. Surgical procedures include stenting and coronary artery bypass. Stenting is putting a catheter tube to increase blood flow through blocked or partially blocked arteries, whereas coronary artery bypass is surgically directing arteries around blocked portions to increase blood flow to the heart. While these medical procedures are a gift from God, they are just as scary as the heart attack itself. Nitroglycerin is an explosive, and the reattachment of arteries is not something to talk about at the dinner table either. Such is why prevention is so important. Some risk factors such as age, sex, and family history can't be affected, at least not until the real hot tub time machine is invented. However, weight, tobacco use, cholesterol levels, blood pressure, and exercise can be impacted with medicine and alterations in lifestyle. Weight can be reduced by increasing the amount of exercise that you get to 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. A simple walk or jog at lunch or before supper can fulfill this. A visit to the school or community fitness center would be beneficial as well in the winter months. Perhaps cutting out dentist visits for a quick jog wouldn't be a bad idea either, just saying. Just tell them you're preventing plaque. Tobacco use, need I say more? Warren Buffett is about the only one who can even afford to smoke anymore. Go for Nicorette. Adding more vegetables and fruits to one's diet and cutting out McDonald's and fried foods would have a positive impact on the reduction of a risk for heart attack or heart disease. By reducing fat in the diet, plaque buildup is decreased. I hope my poor comedy hasn't lost you, but here comes the time to reveal just why I added it. It's not to make light of the horrible circumstance surrounding the heart attack, but a unanimous sentiment echoed by every survivor of a heart attack I have ever known is that life is good. Laughter, even with poor comedy, being a way to celebrate that. Now that a firm preface has been established, I now go to Art Pop, where he tells his own story.
You on now?
Yeah.
Before I knew it, I was getting sort of dizzy spells every once in a while in the morning when I first got up. And short of breath and sometimes a little bit of chest pain. And I thought it was either one of my pills or whatever I was taking in antibiotics and that. I don't know. I thought it was one of them anyway. But the night that it happened, I was losing, well, anyway, before that, I lost appetite and everything. And I just didn't feel right. And the night it happened, I went to the boat club. We meet every Tuesday, and we have a dinner. And after everybody had the social hour, we sat down for dinner, and my plate was filled, and I started to into it, but I realized I couldn't do it. I couldn't eat. I had a sort of a head light dizzy spell, and pain in the chest came, and short of breath. And that's when they called the ambulance. And when the ambulance arrived, right away they applied oxygen and gave me a shot. And took all the symptoms that they go through.
Yeah.
And after that, they took me to the hospital, loaded me into the ambulance and took me to the hospital. And on the way down, they kept asking me questions and giving me different shots or whatever they would end up with. I don't know exactly what it was. I got to the hospital in an emergency room, and they took over there and checked all the vital symptoms and blood pressure and everything that goes with, I guess, a slight heart attack. And after they come to the conclusion that I had to have a stents put in, and my main artery was clogged 95%. After that, I stayed there for 2 days and recuperated, and right now it seems pretty good.
That's good. Who was the one that initially saw that you were having a heart attack or symptoms like a heart attack?
Well, my neighbor had this about 3 months prior to when I had mine, and he was out doing some work, and the fellow that he was with realized that when Ron took the pain in his chest, he knew something was wrong with Ron, and right away he rushed him to the hospital. And he went to Jefferson Hospital with Ron. So when I had mine, Ron happened to be at the club at the same time that I was there, and he noticed my symptoms, and it was the same as his, and right away he called the ambulance. So I credit him as being there for my sake anyway.
That's good. Were you ever scared through the whole thing about what was happening? Or?
No, not really. I wasn't scared. It just happens so fast that you don't realize what's going on around you.
Right. All right. Gotcha. Well, I thank you very much for sharing your experience with me.
No problem. If anything else I can do, let me know.
All right, thank you.
The entire time I was talking to Art, his fingers were fidgeting, showing the discomfort of the memory of his heart attack. However, I was so happy he was here and able to share his story, all thanks to the quick treatment he received. And this is the importance of the golden hour.